What's up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another edition of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast, fantasy booking, follow-up of our mock draft that we had just recently done. I'm your host, as always, Tony Mango. Joining me, as always, are Callum Wiggins.
Hello.
And Robert E. Felice.
Hey, everyone.
So, if you don't know how this works by now, after maybe we've done about a dozen of these or so at this point, we are going to be taking the rosters that we have that we determined from the Royal Rumble all-time, partially randomized, partially chosen by ourselves mock draft that we had done last week, and we are forming the best possible pay-per-view card that we can think of with the people that we have on there. So if you did not check out that mock draft, go back and click on that one. And the basic long and short of it was we had picked 20 people that we manually were trying to get, because we had a lot of big names on here. We got The Rock, we got Stone Cold Steve Austin, John Cena, Brock Lesnar, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then we had a spin the wheel randomizer where the 30 extra picks that were going to make out our 50 roster members were determined. Everything from Bushwhacker Butch to some of the good names as well. One of the best names that anybody had gotten out of the whole thing, of course, we had like Yokozuna popping up and all. So we have those 50 people that we have to work with, and we're not beholden to the 30 people that were in the randomized part or the 30 people in the Royal Rumble. You can book any of those 50 people in the 30-man Royal Rumble. Technically speaking, you could probably do like a 40-man or something, but I just assume that we all did a 30-man. And you have to figure out your champion, your challenger, and then, of course, that factors into who would win this Royal Rumble, because you're effectively setting up what would be a WrestleMania down the line. Now, we might follow this up with a WrestleMania thing in a few weeks, just to be like, well, this is what you did before. So, I kind of like that idea, but WrestleMania season's pretty packed, so we might not get around to being able to do that if we're doing Wrestling with the Past with the Hall of Fame thing, and maybe another Hall of Lame, and then we've got the watch along, and we got like 14 pay-per-views going on at the same time. So stay tuned. Maybe it'll even be a Darkcast or something. I don't know. But the point being, this is what we've got going on here, the mock draft of that all-time Royal Rumble stuff. And for anybody who is questioning as well, this is from the very first one up until last year's. So nobody who has been announced for this year's Royal Rumble that wouldn't already be on the list, which I'm pretty sure there isn't.
That just probably is Omos.
It might be the only one. Yeah, because it's like Candice and Rhea and Cody and all these other people that have been announced already. I think that Omos might be the only one, and he was, of course, only last night on Monday Night Raw. So yeah, I think we're doing things the best we possibly can. And you're going to let us know if we did do the best we possibly can, because we're going to tell you our cards. We want to know what you have to say about them. So drop your thoughts in the comments below. Tell us which cards you liked, which matches you thought are the most interesting, what are the most oddball, whacked out ideas that you just were not feeling whatsoever or anything. And even though this isn't like for anything, tell us who won if you had to pick between the three of us. That's always an interesting thing. So we will go one by one here and give our breakdowns. Generally speaking, though, when we get into this, how easy or hard did you find it to set up your card?
The card itself was fine. It's when you get to the Rumble and you go, God, I got a lot of shitty people at the back end of this, didn't I? Other than that, like the card itself was fun.
It was surprisingly more simple than I was imagining it to be. So I don't know whether that reflects in poor quality, but I'm quite happy with what I've put together for this. So I think once I figured out who exactly was going to be in the Rumble, it all kind of fell into place after that point.
See, I ran myself into a situation where I said before, I was explaining it. I don't know if I did it on the air or if I did it elsewhere, but I ended up having to split a bunch of different lists into threes, where it was like, all right, these are the people that I know I care about. These are the people that I don't really need to have on the card whatsoever. Like, for instance, Tom Brady. It was just like, look, if I don't get a spot for him on the card, it doesn't matter. And then other people were kind of broken down as These are people that I know for sure I want in the Royal Rumble, and then other people that I could use elsewhere. And I was struggling with a lot of the extra matches because there's a lot of people that they could fill the same position here and there, and then I felt bad if they weren't in the Royal Rumble. So I had to kind of try to go, all right, well, who do I not necessarily need in the Rumble itself, and who do I need to make a bigger presence elsewhere? And eventually the thing that got me to really settle on my card was, out of all the things, who my mid-card champion was. And that made me go, okay, well then this fits into the place there, this fits into place there, so that'll make itself a little bit prevalent when I'm explaining my card. But before we get into that, I would just remind everybody that if you enjoy these things and you want us to do more and you want to help support us in different ways that we've got, of course, you've got things like the subscribe button, which you should be doing that no matter what. The like button sounds kind of crazy, but hitting the like button on this video on YouTube can actually make a big difference as far as other people seeing it, because the SEO takes that into account. So if you do enjoy these, just click the like button. Yeah, it's a simple and easy enough, quick thing to do. There's also the thanks button. There's the join button. That'll give you access to the same tiers that you see on the Patreon, like the Darkcast and the Pick Your Poison tier and so on and so forth. Even $1 a month can go a long way in supporting us. And the same thing applies to the TeePublic and Redbubble merchandise shops. So if you want to pick up some different designs slapped on a bunch of different products and stuff, they are always coming out with more, and I am always interested in some new design ideas. So toss them my way too. So let's get into this with our pay-per-view cards. Anybody want to go first?
I think you should go first.
All right, then I will. Simple as that. So I am starting off my pay-per-view with a match that has implications for the Royal Rumble itself, which is somebody fighting for their spot in the Royal Rumble. Story going into this is as simple as it could be. The McMahon family is making it difficult, not surprising, for Bret the Hitman Hart to be in the Royal Rumble. Babyface Bret Hart is overall my favorite, even though I do have a tendency to sometimes to want to book him as like the xenophobic, anti-American Canadian hero type. But I mean, I grew up with a new generation Bret Hart, so he is very firmly that type of Bret, 1994 type. And he has to fight Shane McMahon to get into the Royal Rumble. Naturally speaking, Bret Hart's going to beat Shane McMahon. And at the end of the match, it's going to be announced, yeah, well, you know what? You got your spot in the Royal Rumble, but it's going to be number 1. Deal with that, Hitman. That's good.
Fun.
That's one of your stories to track throughout the pay-per-view of like, I liked in 1994 when they had Bret wrestle earlier and then get injured. And then when he's going into the Royal Rumble, it's like, okay, well, remember Hitman's got that injury. He's not going to really make it that far. So I'm kind of carrying that over a little bit. And plus,
Well,
I mean, Shane...
how the new generation always sticks out in your booking.
It does. And of course, Shane isn't somebody that I needed to necessarily have in the Royal Rumble. He wouldn't have filled like a really important spot. Especially not compared to 2022.
How much you pay him?
Not enough. So that is one of those stories to kind of go back through, little video packages about like maybe he even gets like injured or something along those lines, but probably not. I think that the entry number 1 thing is good enough. And then we could just do something later on where you got like your Mean Gene Okerlunds or your Todd Pettingills or whoever he wants to do like the backstage interviews going like, all right, we're going to check up on the Hitman, hey, Bret, like, what are you thinking about how you're going to have to enter the Royal Rumble at number 1? And they'll be like, well, it's going to be tough, but whatever. And we're transitioning that into another just pure grudge match. And these two guys really could have had spots in the Royal Rumble, but ultimately I thought this would be more fun. A heel Aleister Black against a babyface Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yes. I like it.
I don't know exactly what I would do as far as the feud is, but I'm assuming they would be like Jake being like, hey, you think that you're dark and twisted? Well, I got 22. So, you know what I mean?
I thought you could have gone with the route of you make Aleister Black a devil worshipper.
It could have been that, yeah.
And you'll have your super Christian Jake
Yeah,
Roberts.
That works. There you go. It's that. But yeah, I mean, the point being, I think that even though in WWE, Aleister Black has mostly been babyface, I like him better as a heel. And, Jake Roberts is great as a heel. But there's something between the two of them where I think it's easier to cheer for Jake, especially when it comes to like if he's got the snake out. Maybe even like Aleister Black is like not intimidated by the snake and it's like, oh shit, changes things up. I'm going to go Aleister Black winning that.
If you go with the route of him being a Satan or devil worshipper, there's the idea you could even tell a story of him controlling the snake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be like the snake. Jake puts the snake out there and Black just sits down and is just kind of like, all right, come here. And turns the snake on Jake.
I kind of like that a lot.
I figure that's a good, like, it's got something to it that you can separate them from the Royal Rumble. Otherwise, it's just Aleister Black punching people and it's just Jake punching people and, other people can fill in the same sort of role. So our mid-card champion, for this, I'm doing a concept that I had pitched before. I don't remember if it was ever on any kind of mock draft fantasy booking things, but it's always been on something that I've said, this is how I think I would want to do a mid-card title to kind of combine the United States Championship and the Intercontinental Championship and sort of just do something that's like, I like those side plates in a lot of ways. So we're going to go with the National Championship. And the idea behind it being the same as what I've pitched before, which is you've got the WWE champion at the top. And I've never liked the idea of world champion and then intercontinental champion in United States and North American or whatever. But if you've got one title that can represent location-based winner in some fashion, I think it should be called the National Championship. And whatever nation wins it, the side plates become whatever flag that is. So currently it's the United States Championship. And it's held by Lex Luger. And he defends it against Carlito. And successfully defends it against Carlito. Luger was not going to be a big factor of my Royal Rumble. And Carlito, realistically, he wasn't going to either. So instead of just having some kind of like a gimmicky fun match or something, and then putting him in a spot that he would just be tossed out very quickly, I figured, I could deal with like Carlito being the driving force of a feud with Lex Luger, where Carlito's, of course, better on the microphone than Lex. And it's kind of like, fighting for like a different nation in some fashion. I think that could kind of work as a little bit of a bathroom break in some sense, but not the biggest bathroom break in the world.
Oh yeah. It's not what I thought you were gonna do with Lex Luger, but it's different and it's outside your comfort zone, so I commend you for that.
Do you think I was gonna do Brett and Lex?
I just thought he would be in the Rumble, like a featured player, because he is a top star.
I did think very, very shortly that I would go into this with the idea that everybody retains their memories from previous years and that you start off with Lex Luger and Bret Hart. But then I was just like, I got a better idea in mind. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be the 5-star classic Lex Luger against Carlito, but he'll knock him over the head with that forearm. And that'll be cool. Let's see, tag team championship match. This one has the champions of the Royal Pains of Ridge Holland and William Regal against the Angels of Death, the White Angel Hakushi, and the Japanese Buzzsaw Tajiri.
It's a match I want to see. Yeah, like a lot of fun.
It'd be weird seeing Tajiri against William Regal because they have such a interconnected history themselves.
That could even be the starting point of the feud. Hey, we used to be connected. But obviously the Royal Pains are the heels. The Angels of Death are like the cool, baby faces here that are challenging for the titles. And realistically, I mean, I could see Hakushi and Tajiri being a cool tag team that could be like, give them a run with the belts, but they ultimately lose because we're going some back and forth here of babyface heel. And the Royal Pains overall, I mean, I like that name better too. So I don't know if this factors into WrestleMania, if I split all these things up or something, but I got a feeling that I would be totally cool with these teams still being in the hunt and, you know, tagging some other people up or something. I don't know. But Ridge Holland and William Regal also didn't serve any major spots in my Royal Rumble. I thought about William Regal being in there for like a, you know, the Regal thing and the Royal Rumble and kind of maybe being like a focal point on that. But then once they started booking some of the other ones, there wasn't enough spots for him. So separate him this way, give him a good spot on the card, and pay attention to an extra match by being like, well, it's the Royal Rumble. So you've got this championship and you've got this, you know, the Royal Pains are fighting for the titles and so on. So that is, if anything's the bathroom break match, that probably would be, if you were not going to the bathroom during the national championship. And then since the Royal Rumble itself has to take up the main event spot, the runner-up main event, WWE Championship, you got the glorious one, Robert Roode, as a heel, going up against the champion, Macho Man Randy Savage. I mean, Randy Savage retains.
I thought would have defeated or wrestled Randy Savage, but like, I'm a big Bobby Roode fan, so oh yeah.
Okay.
What about it's not appealing?
Robert Roode.
Yeah, I think if you'd done this years ago, maybe we'd all be about it. But it's like he's lost.
He's a jobber.
Yeah, I mean this current these past couple of years of Robert Roode. Yeah, I mean he's not anything. But I'm talking, you know, the potential that Robert Roode's shown in the past.
To be fair, like any iteration of Robert Roode in WWE, I wouldn't really be that excited about seeing him in the world title match. Like, I kind of ever since he's joined WWE, he's a very cool entrance, and he kind of carries himself as a champion, especially during NXT. But beyond that, it's pretty just flat wrestling.
Yeah.
And so,
he's nowhere near as good in WWE as he was in TNA. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can see why you're doing it, because the Rumble, you never usually have the champion lose the title at the Rumble. Except you do occasionally. Obviously, it's not 0 times, as somebody said on Twitter, and everyone jumped upon him for doing it.
What happened with that?
Oh yeah, there's a guy. I think it was a Grimm's Toy Show.
Grimm's Toy Show.
Yeah, he put out a silly tweet saying that no WWE champion has ever changed hands at the Royal Rumble, and then basically everyone jumped on and said, "Hey, this guy did, and this guy did. Also, this guy did.
Yeah.
This guy." And but he said, "Oh no, I meant to say Universal Champions." And it's like, okay, that title's only been around for like 4 years, but
exactly.
That's just trying to save face. So I mean, Randy Savage, obviously babyface in that he retains the WWE Championship, and we know that the winner of the Royal Rumble is going to go up against Randy Savage. So that could be a fun WrestleMania. And we're going to start off the Royal Rumble with, of course, as I mentioned, entry number 1 is Bret Hart. You know, he's a technician. He's got a chance, but he's going to have a long road ahead of him. And he's going to have a really tough time considering number 2 is Seth Rollins. I like my Royal Rumble to start off with 2 people that seem like they're not only big names, but they seem like if the 2 of them could go for 15 minutes, that people would want to see it, as opposed to just 90 seconds. I like, you know, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels starting it off. I like, oh God, who did it start off in 07? Kind of remember 07 having a good beginning of it.
07 started off.
Flair and Finlay.
I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking another one then, clearly. That kind of setup.
05 started off with Benoit
and Guerrero.
Benoit Guerrero. That
06 starts off with Ray and Hunter.
Hey, Ray and Hunter.
I think 22 was it Styles and Nakamura?
Yeah, they did do
might be. It was 21 or 22. I don't remember for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like
21 was Edge and Randy, and they go the whole route.
Yeah, I like that a whole lot more than when they just kind of toss two random people in there. If it's just like Axe and I don't know, Knobs Smash. Or something. Axe and Smash. Here comes the Axe. Here comes the Smash. So Bret Hart and Seth Rollins are getting into it, and then much to his chagrin, Ted DiBiase comes out at number 3. And this is the same thing that I did the last time because I think it's a really fun idea. You've got he backstage earlier had been trying to buy the number 30 spot. I firmly think, okay, you're getting the tumbler, that gold tumbler that people pick out their numbers and all, and that he's like, he sees that somebody has 3 on there, and he's just like, oh, hey, what'd you get, pal? And he's just kind of like, I'm happy with this pick and whatever. And then why don't I take that number off of you? Yeah. Okay. Well, you agree? Shake hands, motherfucker. That's number 3 instead of number 30. So he got screwed over, and
it's funny.
Everybody's got a price. He paid a bad price for that. Sometimes your investments don't pay off. So you got Bret opposite of Seth Rollins and Ted DiBiase. Seth Rollins is a heel in my side of things. I like heel Rollins more. And that's not looking good for Bret because, of course, Bret is already kind of beaten down from the Shane McMahon match and everything. But thankfully, number 4 comes out, and he's got a little bit of help because it's Virgil. So Ted DiBiase's like, son of a bitch. Like, I'm number 3, and Virgil just came out. Now we got the split ring. Bret and Virgil on one side, Rollins and DiBiase on the other side. And they were fighting. Number 5 comes out, and around the number 5 spot, I always love when you see a big man. So the one-man gang comes out, not Akeem. I'm going with one-man gang on this one because I had the option of going with one way or the other. And DiBiase immediately goes to, hey, big man, look, I will pay for you to help fight alongside me for the rest of this thing. He kind of goes, okay, all right. You got enough money for that? So we've got Hart and Virgil, and then you've got One Man Gang and DiBiase, and Rollins is, slowly shifting his way towards the hillside of, okay, I think I'm going to kind of side with that side a little bit more. Mustafa Ali comes out at number 6. One more for the good guys. Yay. Paul London comes out number 7. He's a good guy too. The ring is starting to fill up. So it's time to clean house, which means that number 8 comes out, and it is Kane. Adios, Mustafa Ali. Adios, Paul London. Just completely eviscerated. One of those like statement eliminations, like he, when he got clotheslined by Snitsky. Just like tosses him the fuck out. No, you are not getting anywhere close to this Royal Rumble. And Virgil, the good guy that he is, he tries to fight Kane. He's trying to attack him from behind. He gets tossed out, and DiBiase goes and points at Kane. Hey, go after Bret. You got to go after Bret. He's the biggest threat. And you start wondering, oh, crap. Kane is going to be in the pocket of DiBiase as well. It's going to be Bret and nobody against Rollins and DiBiase and One Man Gang and Kane. But Kane chokes Ted DiBiase. One Man Gang comes to the rescue, but One Man Gang gets taken out by Kane. He's just taking out everybody. And then he gets drop kicked by entry number 9, Maven. But lightning doesn't strike twice. So Maven gets tossed out by Kane. Just one of those like, nope, not happening. Kane's on a roll. He's going to keep this going. Entry number 10 comes out, and what a perfect draw for Ty Dillinger. I couldn't resist. I mean, come on.
Wow. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, it needed to happen. I thought about him coming out at number 9 or number 11 and being pissed about it, but I have a different thing in mind. So number 10 is Ty Dillinger. Number 11 is Kenny Dykstra. Ring's starting to fill up again. You got some people that can kind of balance out Ty Dillinger as a babyface, Kenny Dykstra as a heel. You're going to follow up an arrogant prick of Kenny Dykstra with the arrogant HBK because Shawn Michaels comes in at number 12. And then followed that with the most unlucky pick possible. Mr. Perfect comes out at number 13. And he is pissed about it because he should have had the perfect pick. He should have been number 30. And he's feuding with Ty Dillinger at the moment. So Ty Dillinger and Mr. Perfect go at it. That's one of those things where it's like, the Royal Rumble puts somebody out there very soon afterward. The person that they're feuding with comes out. Then they start going at it. One of those kind of deals. Kenny Dykstra is eliminated by Shawn Michaels. Ted DiBiase gets taken out by Shawn Michaels. He can't keep this going any longer. Adios, $1 Million Man. So he's pissed about that, and maybe that'll lead to Shawn Michaels against Ted DiBiase in the future, or something along those lines. Number 14 comes out. It's Owen Hart. He, of course, goes straight after Brett because fuck you, brother. I don't want you to win more than anybody else. Number 15... before number 15 comes out, Mr. Perfect takes out Ty Dillinger. He lasted 5 spots. It's about good enough. Number 15 comes out. It's Crush. We got to stare down Crush and Kane. Kind of those, the two big guys in the ring right now, especially because One Man Gang has been eliminated. Kofi Kingston comes out at number 16. Dean Ambrose comes out at number 17. And since I've got that sort of, friendly connection between him and Seth Rollins. Rollins is all like, oh, okay, good, my buddy's here. Like, we can team up against everybody else. And Rollins gets eliminated by Dean Ambrose. Followed by Mick Foley at number 18, and he immediately starts brawling with Ambrose. The two of them just start going at it, and this is going to lead down to something in the future. Kofi Kingston saves himself from being eliminated around that time. Barry Horowitz comes out at number 19. Good old underdog. Maybe he could have a good run. Number 19 is a good spot. At this point, Ambrose and Mick Foley have been brawling so long that they eliminate each other. They just tumble over the top rope and they start fighting to the back. So Ambrose is gone. Foley is gone. He's barely been in there, but I think that Foley is one of those guys that he makes a bigger presence in a Royal Rumble when he comes out rather than if he stays out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not going to be like the guy flipping around. And realistically speaking, I don't need to have him skinning the cat and everything, So currently still in the ring, you got Bret Hart, Seth Rollins, you got Kane, Shawn Michaels, Mr. Perfect, Owen Hart, Crush, Kofi Kingston, Barry Horowitz. Ring's really getting full. So we got to get another big man out there to start cleaning house a little bit. And it's Andre the Giant, number 20 spot. Can't go wrong with that. Andre takes out Barry Horowitz. No underdog story today for him. Kofi Kingston gets taken out by Andre the Giant. Crush gets taken out by Andre the Giant. And Kane, where Crush and Kane are fighting and Andre just sort of dumps them. And the two of them really could have been the ones that took Andre out. And everybody realizes that. So Brett, Shawn Michaels, Mr. Perfect, Owen Hart, they look at Andre and just go like, fuck. Like, we don't have Crush, we don't have Kane. The four of us against Andre is not going to be enough. We need help. So number 21 comes out. Help is on the way. It's Santino Marella. And they all just go, fuck me. Like, he couldn't have been somebody that really could have been useful. And Santino gets eliminated by Andre the Giant. And they sit there and they go like, all right, facepalm moment. Fuck. We're back to this again. And Andre's just laughing it up. Just, this is fucking great. None of you are going to come close to doing anything to me. Yeah, big man in a Royal Rumble. What are you going to do? You're going to send out another big man. Babatunde, number 22.
He is big.
He's big. Not a lot of people left in this match are big. He's going to start fighting him. It's not still going to be enough. You need something more. Big Daddy Cool to the rescue. Entry number 23 is Diesel. And Andre the Giant is taken out by Brett, Sean, Mr. Perfect, Owen Hart, Babatunde, and Diesel all together. And as they're celebrating and they're all just kind of like, yeah, we did it or whatever, Sean and Diesel take out Babatunde. Fuck you, pal. They got a thing in mind. They know that they're buds, and Diesel wants to be the big man in the match, and yeah, this is their quick chance to take out Babatunde. Go ahead. So Babatunde is just son of a bitch. Let's all celebrate while everybody's down and kind of worn out. So number 24 is Booker T. You can do a little spinneroonie in the ring.
Please.
Number 20. Oh no, before number 25 comes out, Owen Hart gets taken out by Brett. Owen thinks that he can just take the opportunity to jump on this and do something, and Brett just kind of, maybe one of those moves where like Owen's going for it and Brett grabs him by the head and spins around and throws him, and Owen's looking like, how the hell did that happen, even though it makes no sense. It's like the Irish whip. Like, it never makes any sense, but people do it anyway. Number 25 is Shane Douglas. He lays out Booker T. What a jerk. Doesn't eliminate him, though. We're going to get another big man in a dangerous spot this late with Bam Bam Bigelow. He is taking down some different people. He gets stalled by Diesel. By this point, Shane Douglas gets taken out by Booker T. Revenge for that momentary laying you out. Possible feud going forward. Shane Douglas and Booker T. I don't know. It's not really something I'm super, super fond of. But hey, I couldn't figure out anything better for Shane Douglas. And number 27 comes out. Lucky number 27. Super happy to be in this number is Jonathan Coachman. But it isn't, because his spot gets taken by Repo Man.
Yay.
Something backstage with the whole Ted DiBiase buying number 30. It got all messed up, and Jonathan Coachman doesn't have a spot in the Royal Rumble. Fucking Repo Man took it from him. So Repo Man's all, giddy and shit. And as soon as he gets in the ring, Bret Hart takes him out. Just fuck you, pal. You're not going to actually do shit with this. So number 28, very, very good draw for the Ultimate Opportunist. You got Edge coming out. He's going to be a big player for this. Number 29. All right, before number 29 comes out, Booker T gets eliminated by Edge. He's on a roll. He's, comes into the ring, immediately spears Booker T and, starts making a presence. Number 29 is a massive threat, Roman Reigns, who takes out Bam Bam Bigelow. And we're ready for number 30. Who was the one that cheated Ted DiBiase out of that thing? Ric Flair. Dirtiest player in the game. So Ric Flair comes out strutting his stuff, thinking that, I'm number 30. Like, this is great. And, I got this win. And we got the split of the ring. 3 faces, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, and Diesel. 3 heels in Mr. Perfect, Edge, and Roman Reigns. And Flair is doing his posing and being the center of attention. And he eats a super kick by Shawn Michaels and gets tossed out. I don't need Ric Flair to be in this match super long. Down to the final 6. Bret, Shawn, Perfect, Diesel, Edge, Roman, and we got Shawn Michaels getting taken out by Mr. Perfect. Boo. But thankfully, Mr. Perfect gets taken out by Bret Hart. And we're down to the final 4. Bret, Diesel, Edge, and Roman. So we got the 4 corners, everybody sets off to the side. Diesel and Roman start looking at each other. Edge and Bret start looking at each other. You start having that clash. Diesel gets taken out by Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns gets taken out by Bret Hart. And Edge squeaks in and eliminates Bret. Match you're looking forward to is Macho Man Randy Savage against Edge as a heel.
That's a lot of fun, and I have to say you put a lot of work into your Royal Rumble idea. Now, what landed on Edge and Savage?
The more that I thought about it, and by the way, the people that are not on the card that I didn't incorporate are Beth Phoenix, Bushwhacker Butch, Damian Demento, Dick Murdoch, Doug Gilbert, Draz, Takao Mori and Tom Brady. Because, yeah, whatever. I don't need to put another match on the card and incorporate them. The more I thought about it, the more I was trying to figure out who would my champion be. And I had a couple people in mind, like maybe Ted DiBiase, maybe Rollins, maybe even something with like Roman Reigns would be the champion instead of being in the Royal Rumble and all. When I had Savage and Rude as a match that I could take those two out of the Royal Rumble, then I'm like, all right, Savage is my champion. I need a heel to go up against him. And then I looked at my list and I'm like, I don't want to see Savage and DiBiase again. And Savage and Rollins was in my mind, but I ultimately like Edge more. So you take out a couple people that he's already had matches with, like Flair and Perfect. And I don't think Andre the Giant versus Randy Savage is a match that needs to happen at, when we could do other matches and stuff. Like you could do Andre versus any of the other big men or anything. But the Brett story felt like it needed to have a disappointing end because it's a little too obvious that it's like, okay, Brett gets a fight, fights for the spot in the Royal Rumble, comes to number 1, and then he makes it all the way to the end. No, Edge is a spoiler.
Nice.
So people on the YouTube side of things can see on the screen right now the full breakdown of everything, the eliminations in the red, other notes here and there. I had tons and tons of different notes, but I deleted them along the way. And you're going to leave this Royal Rumble with Edge being like, hey, I'm going to beat Randy Savage at WrestleMania. And we're going to start a feud between two charismatic people that can really hold their own on the mic. And I think that the match would be pretty good too. I think Savage and Edge could work really well together.
I would agree with that.
Any thoughts, Callum?
I mean, again, the Rumble's been well constructed, so there's a lot of thought going into it, which is good. I personally would have gone with Roman out of your final choices.
He was very close.
I just think that sounds like a bigger match than Edge versus Randy Savage.
And I mean, Edge versus...
You would put him against Randy Savage as well?
Well, yeah. Well, I'm going by the assumption that I can't change. If I couldn't change who the champion was, and I could only change the result of the Rumble, then I probably would have gone with Roman over Edge. I think Edge would be a good choice to face Bret Hart at WrestleMania. Like you have him eliminate him, and then see like he's in the pocket of the McMahon, so McMahon's decided to side with him to be the one to finally take out Bret Hart.
Now, did you say you had already pre-planned like an Elimination Chamber or a Fastlane to go along with this card, or did you get that far?
I have a couple notes in mind, but not really anything. Because I might follow it up with something like that. It might just kind of be like, where can I see? How can I go with this? Like, am I going to do something with like Kane versus Andre? Am I going to do something with like maybe like the Booker T versus Shane Douglas thing, which isn't something that's like, hey, that's my big priority is Shane versus Booker. But like, I mean, you got something with the Owen Hart and Bret Hart thing. Maybe they can sort of sort out their issues and do something with like the Shield. Maybe you could get something with Diesel and Michaels together against people, or there's some ideas here and there.
Cool. Was there anything that you just didn't like on your card? Like you were just like, I guess because we're here, fine.
Out of all the people that I couldn't figure out something decent enough to do with, not that it was like a big priority anyway, but I kept feeling like Mustafa Ali was just there. And I was like, it's a shame that I can't really justify him being the guy who at least fights Lex Luger more. And then I'm like, but then Carlito's in that spot. And it was Carlito and Mustafa Ali were pretty much just like, I don't know what to do with these guys. I like them, but I can't figure out any spot for them. A lot of the other ones, like, Ty Dillinger, I like Ty Dillinger, but he wasn't going to be a big priority. And then somebody like Crush is, fun for what he was worth. But the most disappointing thing, I think, would be I wanted to do something with the 3 members of the Shield. And the more that I laid out the match, the more that I was just like, I kind of like the idea of tweener / heel Ambrose and Foley and heel Rollins and heel Roman, and you can't have the three of them really fight each other if they're all heels. And then Rollins has to last until the end, and Ambrose has to last until the end, and yeah. DiBiase was definitely one of the ones that was like very quickly book around him for a little bit, you know.
Right.
But that's my whole setup, which means it's somebody else's turn.
I can go. I have a lot on this card, and while you will not get the detail with which I think Tony laid out the Royal Rumble match itself, I had some pretty fun beats to my whole card.
Make sure that you put it up on the spreadsheet too.
I will. I actually have it on a different Google Doc, and then I'll just copy and paste it. All right, so my card. First of all, I want to say that the undercard was very, very easy to book. It became more challenging when I tried to decide, all right, if I was laying out long-term storytelling, how am I getting to where I want to go? But my card will have quite a few gimmick matches on it. I almost had a full gimmick match card, but I, controlled myself a little bit.
You can see on your screen right now that everybody can see their the roster. I forgot to put that up originally. These are the people that Rob was working with, so keep that in mind.
It opens up with a tag team championship ladder match. The Hardy Boys successfully defending the tag team titles against Rob Van Dam and Sabu. I don't know if I said it on air or off air, but this was going to happen as soon as I got RVD and Sabu.
I think you said it I think that was when you had picked Sabu and we were like, whoa, what? I think you were like, oh, I think we're going to tag him up with RVD.
Yeah, because I toyed around with like the actual match itself. Do I make it a tables? Do I make it Extreme Rules? But I had another match in mind for down this card. I did not make it an Extreme Rules match. Now, we get our first backstage segment. It's a Royal Rumble Tumbler segment. Sheamus gets his number. He looks pretty happy with himself. Randy Orton gets his number, and he's not so happy. We go from that to an Intercontinental Championship match. Adam Cole defending against Pete Dunne. Now, you can imagine why I put this match together. I think both these guys are great. I thought they had a great match at Survivor Series in 19. Adam Cole retains his title because he low blows Pete Dunne in front of the referee and walks off. And as he walks off, Michael Cole, who's on not only play-by-play duty, but just and a backstage interview as well, says, Adam, why'd you do that? And he says, because I'm going to be the first Intercontinental Champion to enter the Royal Rumble and win, and I can't exhaust myself any further. It's been like 15 minutes. I had to get out of there because I'm going to win the Royal Rumble. All right, cool. Next, we go to a backstage segment with Cody Rhodes and his father. And Dusty tells him, no matter what happens in this next match, I love you. You make me very proud. The next match is a United States Championship Texas Death Match. As Vader, with Harley Race, defends against Cody Rhodes, Dusty Rhodes.
Not what I was expecting to be on this card. I can say that.
Now, it's traditional Texas Deathmatch rules. You got to knock them out and then keep them down for 10. I think there would be a lot of plunder here, to use a Dusty phrase. I definitely see Dusty giving Harley the elbow. And the match ends when Cody Rhodes and Dusty do a double bionic elbow. Cody Rhodes hits the disaster kick. Vader goes toppling through a set of tables, pins him 1, 2, 3, and then they throw a bunch of plunder on him. Vader's out for 10 seconds. Cody Rhodes gets to celebrate his win with his father. He's a bloody mess. You got to imagine Vader just beat the shit out of him throughout the whole thing. But that would be my United States Championship match. And I will say this, that is the first match I booked for this show.
Do you have that in mind when you were picking Cody Rhodes?
No,
or is it only when you got Dusty?
I had Cody as like a major Rumble guy, and I had Vader as like a guy who's gonna be like a Kane in your Rumble. And then I looked at it and I went, I got Vader, I got Harley, I got Cody, I got Dusty. I think I gotta do something. All right. So, actually, Callum, you haven't said anything. Any thoughts?
They're cool matches.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm more like just listening really at the moment, and yeah, that takes deathmatch. It sounds very much like the babyface Ric Flair versus Vader approach, which is
All
cool.
right.
That's exactly what Cody would do. So
there's the 3 matches I'd watch.
So we get our next Tumblr segment. You see Berserker leaving with his number. You see Cybernetico gets his number. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn they draw. Kevin Owens. Yet Sami Zayn draws, looks at his number, looks at Kevin's, and they stare each other down. Think you know where we're going here. We go from that to another backstage where Triple H he's got his WWE Championship, he's getting a cup of coffee, looks around, and there's Batista, who's got his World Championship. And they're both pissed. Triple H is pissed about his title match. He's not happy he has to defend in a triple threat. Batista says, that's not so bad. I got to worry about The Undertaker. And suddenly they both stop talking. They look to their left. Randy, because you think that's bad, look at my Royal Rumble number. And Triple H looks at Batista, looks at Hunter. They go, well, we got problems of our own, but by the looks of your number, you're not going to be one of them. And they're laughing at him, and then suddenly Triple H goes, well, wait a minute. Maybe we should talk. And they all go off in their own way to go talk about whatever they need to. Next on the card isn't really a match, but it is a super pose down.
Okay, that's not the next thing I was expecting.
Ravishing Rick Rude and Bobby Lashley.
okay.
This is just to let things breathe, and if you've seen the pose down in '89 with Rude and Warrior, this is going to end with, obviously, the people like Lashley. Lashley gets attacked, and Rick Rude stands tall over Lashley. That's to let, you've had a Texas Death Match, a ladder match. Gotta let things breathe a little bit. But the next match, because we are coming into the home stretch, is your WWE Championship triple threat. Rey Mysterio and CM Punk challenging Triple H. And this is a very fun match. Rey is the uber babyface. Punk is the neutral. I'm tired of being screwed by Triple H. He's like, I'm going to get my hands on you. I'm going to finally main event WrestleMania. The match, obviously it's triple threat. It breaks down. At one point, Rey and Punk get Triple H over the announce desk. They start battling themselves. Rey hits Punk with the 619. Goes for the West Coast Pop. Punk counters that into the go to sleep. And suddenly, out comes Batista, clothesline CM Punk, and looks at Rey, smiles at him, and Rey's going, what the hell's going on? Anyway, Rey goes to get up on the top rope, frog splash. Wait, here comes Triple H, pedigree to Rey Mysterio. 1, 2, 3. Triple H walks out with the championship belt.
What a dastardly heel. What a bastard.
At this point, Punk's thinking, what the hell, Rey? What was that? I just got fucked by Batista. What's happening here? And he's not happy. He's irate. We get a Wyatt family backstage vignette. They all have their numbers. It's Bray Wyatt jargon. Tonight, a plan will come together that will result in the destruction of worlds. I have my family with me, and even though there's another 27 guys out there, tonight it's all about us. And right as he's about to do the whole run thing, you see in the shadows, Randy Orton's behind Bray Wyatt. Oh, what the fuck is happening there? Anyway, next match. It's Batista and The Undertaker for the World Championship. Batista's a heel. Think like 2010, Spotlight on Me, Batista. And Undertaker is later stage Undertaker. I had a few different matches in mind, and I'll tell you what I have after this. Because, back and forth match, Batista gets a 2 count on Batista bomb. The referee ends up taking a bump. Undertaker chokeslams Batista, does the throat slit, and there's the Wyatt family sound. Holy shit, Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, and Braun Strowman just came in the ring, beat the shit out of the Undertaker. Batista falls into the cover. 1, 2, 3. Well, what the hell just happened? The Wyatt family just targeted the Undertaker. And in my world, they haven't done this yet. So we haven't.
Yeah.
So that's that. And now we go into the Royal Rumble itself. We start off, no surprises, with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you?
Again, following that idea of 2 people that could actually have a good first kind of brawl.
Absolutely. And then, they're brawling and they try to hit each other a couple of times. Double clothesline. Number 3 comes in and it's Randy Orton. He got number 3. He was really pissed off about it. He goes for the RKO on KO right away. KO pushes him into Sami Zayn, who gets him in an exploder. Everybody's brawling. Nobody gets eliminated. Number 4 comes in. It's the Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich. A lot of back and forth here. Still, just your standard Rumble brawling. Hest comes in at number 5. And even though he's able to knock down the Texas Tornado long enough for Randy Orton to hit him with an RKO and throw out the tornado, he's by the ropes, and Sami Zayn comes rushing with a haluva kick. Test goes out pretty quickly. It's back down to just Orton, Owens, and Zayn.
Quite ironic for Test to get eliminated by a big boot.
Yes.
Big boot from a smaller guy.
Number 6 is Jim Runzel. And, you got to fill up with some of your lesser names. He doesn't get eliminated right away. He kind of just picks his spot. Has a little bit of a back and forth with Randy. And then number 7 comes in, and it's Umaga, and out goes Jim Brunzell. So Umaga's just wrecking everybody, running hip attacks to 3 corners. Everybody's doing their signature spots, and Umaga's standing tall all by himself as the other 3 are laying down, and it's Braun Strowman's number 8. And you have the big man stare down. They do the test of strength kind of stuff. They don't move each other. Owens and Zayn get back into it. They're all knocking down the big man. Number 9 comes in. It's Rick Boogs. Boogs isn't in there for long as he gets eliminated by Umaga and Strowman. I think, kind of double toss over the ropes or whatever. Number 10 comes in, and it's Luke Harper. Now Harper and Strowman are pounding everybody in the ring. They're kind of, destroying everybody. Harper gets to discus lariat on Orton, Zayn, and Owens. And number 11 comes in. It's Danny Davis, and Danny Davis is, I'm in the match, and I'm so like,
yeah, I'm in the match.
He's having fun. He's stomping this one, stomping that one. He tries to toss out Sami Zayn. Does nothing. He tries to get Owens to help him. Owens stuns him. Owens and Zayn eliminate Danny Davis together with a double clothesline. And we're back to your 5 of your top stars in this match. Then number 12 comes in, and it's Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne, who's already wrestled the Intercontinental Championship match. He's going after Orton. He's getting to do some X-plexes on people. He's actually getting to make a name for himself. And then number 13 comes in, and it's Bray Wyatt. And the strategy of the Pete Dunne, everybody's getting laid out. I am the eater of worlds, yada yada. Umaga's still in there. Umaga starts taking on the Wyatt family by himself, and they're all beating him down. And then number 14 comes in, and it's Jey Uso, who tries to help out Umaga. And now you've kind of got like different factions brawling, as everybody but Orton essentially has a partner, but Orton's kind of got this weird deal with Wyatt family because we still don't know what they were talking about. And that goes on for a little bit. Number 15 comes in, it's Paul Roma. Harper and Strowman right out with Paul Roma. We don't need Paul Roma in this match. Okay,
did it make you feel bad, by the way, when you were booking these and it's like you break down and you go like, all right, well, Paul Roma, no, it's just get tossed. Because I did the same with like, you just look at some people and you're like, yeah, I don't need that one.
I have so many different characters in this that are story driven that like some of them just don't fit.
Mm-hmm.
Number 16 comes in and it's Adam Cole, baby. Adam Cole goes rushing in, and guess what? Pete Dunne sees the motherfucker and rushes right at him, clotheslines him over the ropes, and also eliminates himself in the process because he's just going to beat Adam Cole's ass up and down the ramp for screwing him out of the Intercontinental title. So even though I would have had more planned for Cole, I think this story is a lot more fun. Number 17 is Snitsky. Snitsky kind of makes himself comfortable going after Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, exploder suplexes Snitsky. He goes to running haluva kick him, and suddenly the Wyatt family grabs Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn's out. They look at Kevin Owens. Here, you can go with him. All three of them eliminate Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are out through the Wyatt family. And, we keep going here. Rene Dupree comes in. He tries to get some shots in on people. He doesn't last too long because he's going to be eliminated by the Wyatt family in short order. Number 19 is the Red Rooster. And, you've got everybody kind of brawling, and Randy Orton will be the one to take out the Red Rooster, but he'll last a little bit. Like, he won't get tossed out immediately like a Paul Roma, but Randy Orton will get him out because we're building Randy Orton here, like he's going to be the Iron Man of this thing, clearly. And then number 20 comes in, and it's John Cena, and John Cena eliminates Snitsky, and John Cena eliminates Jey Uso, and he gets out Umaga, and he's up against the Wyatt family. And Randy Orton's like, come on, we can do this, John. We can take care of together. All right. And I don't know why John Cena would believe him, because Randy Orton knocks out John Cena from behind. And everybody's jumping on John Cena. Of course, because of the Wyatt family, they'll eventually start attacking Orton once again, too. We get number 21 in. It's Ezekiel Jackson. He kind of fares well. He's able to body slam Strowman. He's able to take out Harper. He's able to last. You know what I mean?
Big man.
He comes in. It's Tiger Ali Singh. He doesn't get thrown out right away, but he does eventually fall to John Cena. Number 23 comes in, and it's Ravishing Rick Rude. And Rick Rude's attacking John Cena, and he's attacking Randy Orton. He's kind of one of those neutral parties who just will beat up whatever. It's the Royal Rumble. I want to go to WrestleMania. Number 24 comes in. Bobby Lashley. Guess who he's going right for? Rick Rude eats an atomic drop so he can do that awesome sell where he's acting like he doesn't know how to move his ass. And, Bobby Lashley,
that's a featured spot.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Ow, my ass is broken.
Listen, if you ever just watched him do it, you'll understand.
Yeah.
Lashley throws out Rick Rude. Number 25 is Sheamus. Sheamus comes in, running forearms for people. He kicks Ezekiel Jackson out of the thing. Now it's him and Lashley, and then they're brawling, and everybody. We're down to still some heavy hitters. And number 26 comes in. It's the Berserker. We have a fun moment where the Berserker and Luke Harper just do the back and forth thing there. And then he's able to stay in a little bit longer, but he'll eventually get chucked out by John Cena because yay, Cena. Number 27 Big John Studd, he won from that number. I believe he was the first to win from that number. And he's able to last a bit, but he'll also get tossed out by Sheamus. Number 28, we get Sergeant Slaughter, who is kind of able to, get some fun moments on people. He goes for Randy because Randy was the legend killer. He gets the Cobra Clutch on Randy. Randy kind of ducks by the ropes, allows the Wyatt family to chuck out Sergeant Slaughter. Number 29 is Cibernetico. He doesn't do much. He does flying crossbodies, gets an RKO, gets tossed out by Randy Orton. Now at this point, it's the Wyatt family, it's Sheamus, Lashley, and it's Randy.
And John Cena, right?
Yeah. And you've got the baby faces and the heels are kind of squaring up. And everybody's brawling, and eventually the Wyatt family is kind of getting the better of Cena. They get the better of Lashley. They get the better of Sheamus. Randy Orton thinks he's kind of safe. Bray Wyatt turns on him with Sister Abigail. They're excited. They're about to just start chucking out people. Number 30 hits. Bong. Lights go out. Lights go on. Undertaker's here. Undertaker starts just beating the fuck out of the Wyatt family. Out goes Harper. Out goes Strowman. Bray Wyatt looks up at him and he just starts laughing. And Taker hits him with, like the flurry of shots that he'll do in the corner. And choke slam. Out goes Bray Wyatt, who's just laughing the whole way through, like almost in a Joker way. Just like, okay, this is what I wanted. I have the Undertaker's attention. So now it's down to Taker, Cena, Lashley, Sheamus. And we get, everybody's kind of doing their signature spots. Lashley gets spearing on Sheamus. Taker gets a chokeslam in on Lashley. Cena goes for the AA. Taker out the backside, chokeslam. He thinks he's got the whole thing going on. He goes for Randy. And he got him up in a tombstone. And suddenly, chair to the back. Oh shit, what the fuck is Batista doing here? Batista shows up. Randy's able to get out the Undertaker with his help. Randy's able to RKO Sheamus. Out goes Sheamus. Lashley is able to avoid an RKO. Push Orton into Cena. AA. Lashley hits a spear on Cena. Goes to throw him out. Cena reverses it. Up and over goes Bobby Lashley. We're down to Randy Orton and John Cena. There's your final two. But suddenly, Evolution with the titles, that they're watching the match, and there's clearly something happening here. So, John Cena's kind of looking around. He's distracted long enough. Orton goes for an RKO. Nope. John Cena hits shoulder blocks, does the, 5 moves of doom, essentially, and hits him with 5 knuckle shuffle, goes up for an AA. Batista up on the apron. He's distracting him, and suddenly, bam, it's CM Punk. CM Punk goes after Batista long enough for, Randy Orton to get distracted. Eventually, John Cena wins the Royal Rumble by eliminating Randy Orton. And it now becomes, well, who's John Cena going to challenge? Because there's this weird Evolution thing. And it's not like Punk and Cena are friends. It's just Punk got fucked over earlier in the night and he wanted revenge. But John Cena now has his ticket to WrestleMania. Randy Orton's pissed because he was just in the ring for an hour and it still failed, even though he had Evolution and the Wyatts in his back pocket. Hunter's pissed because he's like, I don't want to fight John Cena. Batista would be upset, but he's too busy running away from CM Punk. And that's your Royal Rumble.
So who is it that you don't have in here? You got Mantar, Michael
I didn't
Cole.
have Saba Simba. I didn't have Bo Dallas.
Steve Blackman.
I didn't have Steve Blackman.
Fake Diesel, Skinner.
I'd not put Fake Diesel or Skinner.
And then I think you got everybody else.
Because I did have Michael Cole as an announcer. Now, yes, that was a lot. And there was a lot of like story-driven stuff. But I think, and I've been thinking about this a lot, there's not enough just through-line plots in modern wrestling. And I want to see a return to that. Like, all these characters have backstories with one another. Why not exploit that? You know, Randy Orton does have a relationship with the Wyatt family. It would make sense to put the Wyatts against Taker. You know, Batista and Triple H, they could be mad. They don't have to be together, but you have the history of Evolution, and you can play on that. I will say this. I was going to do Ray and Triple H solo, but then I was going to do Punk and Triple H. Because one of the ideas I had was Punk will get screwed somehow, enter the Royal Rumble, win it, and then it's CM Punk and Triple H at Mania. I also thought about Batista against Sami Zayn as just like a fun, okay, him and Triple H are bitching about having to fight these indie guys, and that could be the through line to get that backstage segment. The Superpose Down was the last idea I came up with, just because I just like, you know, I'm doing too much here. I want something to let everything breathe. I was also gonna do Bray Wyatt's the world champion and Undertaker beats him in a casket match. That was gonna be it was good. I don't want to spoil where I'm going with Mania because we might actually do like an elimination chamber and stuff. But I have a very distinct idea. I know who John Cena is gonna face. I know Hunter is gonna face. I know what I could conceivably do with the Intercontinental title. I really like this. I hope that came through.
I could see the time frame. Like obviously when I book like a lot of new generation stuff, it's like, yeah, you're very much ruthless aggression leading into that CM Punk groundswell of support kind of era. You got Evolution, you got the Wyatt family, you know?
Yeah, I thought it was fun. What do you think, Calvin?
Yeah, I liked it. I think, again, there is that interwoven connection that you've found between trying to, okay, I've got 3 members of Evolution. What can I do with them? Oh, of course, I make them all champions, except for Orton, who decided to make kind of the focal point at the Rumble. That doesn't really surprise me. I appreciate the fact that you had all the Wyatt family, and so you decided to use them. I still think, especially considering recent history, you give them way too much.
They're so easy. They're so easy to book. If there weren't easy characters to play with, and if they didn't have the history of being main event guys, I can always just say, "Well, this is my world, so I didn't fuck it up yet." You know?
Yeah, I was gonna say they're so easy to book. Tell that to both Vince McMahon and Triple H, who both seem to be doing a terrible job with both.
I really like. I had fun with it. You know?
It's interesting to do a completely different thing because it's not like you just have these 50 people try to figure out the best card. It's like, no, you got to figure out a Royal Rumble including in that. So, you know, if we end up doing like Elimination Chamber or something, whether we do it with these people or we do a different type of thing, it's like, yeah, it's a different animal, you know. Money in the Bank's kind of easy because you just toss whoever you want in there, but like you gotta start figuring out stories. You got to figure out like the eliminations themselves, or you can't just be like, all right, well, it's Skinner and then Boogs and then Lashley and Dallas, and then eventually it comes down to Dusty Rhodes win. So, you know, like it's.
And I think I really found a niche for myself with like using, if you're booking a pay-per-view, use backstage segments to tell the stories you want to tell. And I just think like it's there. Use it to tell your stories better.
What was the hardest thing for you?
Honestly, was figuring out who I was going to make champion and who I was going to put in the Rumble. Because like there was part of me that was like, I can book a whole Rumble around Ray. I can book a whole Rumble around Batista and Randy and John. I can book a whole, you know. So trying to decide who your champion should be was very tough.
All right, so then your card is currently not up on the spreadsheet, but I'll show that.
It will be by
at
the
the
time.
at the end of this.
Counts.
Gonna switch back over to where people can see Callum's people that he's working with. Round it out.
Okay, so I'll start off by saying that I did not take the cowardly road of leaving people off of the card. You give me 50 people, I'm booking 50 people.
Yeah.
That is what I do, and I stick to it. I have a request for my pre-show match. So I have 8 Ball.
Okay.
You can't make him Stone Cold.
No, I won't go that far. I won't go that far because I have Stone Cold. I don't need it. I don't need.
Oh, that's right, you do.
Yeah, but he's actually Ron Harris. Can I call him Ron Harris?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
he could be the 8 Ball. Could be his like nickname.
Like a blue.
8 Ball Ron Harris.
8 Ball Ron Harris. Yeah, that's the same thing.
Okay. So
I don't think anybody's going to be like, no, that's the sticking point. You know?
Yeah. Well, it's important to this because it makes the gimmick of the tag team I put him in. So the pre-show match. Towards the end of the randomizer, I had the unfortunate, the unfortunate bearing of getting both one half of Demolition and one half of Legion of Doom. So I decided, why not pay them up? And they become the Demolition of Doom.
I like it.
Axe and Hawk. Just take the. I don't know. I don't even know if they're the best people in their teams, but they're notable people in their teams.
Here comes the Axe. Here comes the Hawk.
Yeah, and then they would take on Ronnie Garvin and Ron Harris, the two Ronnies. Which is a very, very British reference for people that aren't aware.
I'm going to look it up right now because I want to understand it.
They were a comedy double act in the 1970s and 80s that I'm a big fan of. So I decided, I've got 2 people called Ron. I can make the 2 Ronnies a tag team in WWE as well. So yeah, that's just a fun little pre-show match. The Axe and Hawk obviously win, but just wanted to throw something on there. It's just a little palate cleanser. Babyface team wins. Then I have a 6-man tag, and it kind of needs a bit of explaining. So I got a few people together, and I decided, okay, I've got some element of the Hurt Business, and I've got some elements of the Nation. So why not create the Hurt Nation?
I like it.
And not all the members are involved in it because there are certain ones I've left out. But in this 6-man tag, 3 of the members, there are 5 members in total, and 2 of them are in the Rumble. But the 3 members that are represented in the 6-man tag are Xavier Woods, heel Xavier Woods, because I think he's got that. He has that aspect about him. Like when they first started the New Day, he was a great heel. D'Lo Brown.
People thought that he was going to be starting a new Nation of Domination.
Yeah, he has D'Lo Brown and Perry Saturn. Because Perry Saturn is like a really beat 'em up type of guy, and I think he fits into that role.
Yeah, I imagine he'd be in a group called the Hurt Nation.
Yeah. And they're taking on, again, plucky babyface team, Zack Ryder, Mojo Rawley, and B. Brian Blair.
Nice.
There's the Hype Bros plus Brian Blair, who's just like, just a lowly jobber on the entire thing. But the idea is
there's a lot of buzz around that team. There's not just a lot of hype. There's a lot of buzz.
Yeah, that could be the whole promo leading up to it. But it's just a way to pretty much squash a team for the Hurt Nation. They can just build up a little bit of a story about having singles matches and tag team matches leading up to it. With the Hype Bros, the idea that the Hype Bros are obviously super positive, and the Hurt Nation are just strictly business. They're the Hurt Business, but they also the Nation. That's so yeah, they're all business, and they get a pretty straightforward victory there. My tag team championship match, one that I would always be happy to book. The Revival as champions, defending against the Steiner brothers.
Yep, we knew that one was coming.
Yeah, well, I didn't shy away from that, but
yeah,
they're just 2 awesome teams going up against each other. I'd probably have the Steiner brothers get the victory here, just have again nice little babyface pop to get the victory. And you could run it back at WrestleMania or do something else at WrestleMania along these lines as well. But might maybe make give him a break for the next pay-per-view and then come back with like a 2 out of 3 falls match for WrestleMania or something of that ilk. But I could see these two teams feuding for a while. And to be fair, on my card, they pretty much would be, because there's not much else to really choose from on the tag team side of things. But yeah, just great match. Again, this is just my natural habit. It's just like, I need to book great matches. The Rumble's not enough. It has to be a great show from top to bottom, or as much of a great show as possible, despite the 6-man tag and the 2 Rodneys. United States Championship match. Daniel Bryan as a champion defending against Johnny Gargano.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah. So the story about this is that Daniel Bryan has been like a babyface United States champion for quite a while, and now he's been challenged by Johnny Gargano, one of like number one contendership going into this, and he's also a babyface. So it starts off babyface, and it would basically, the match would be babyface throughout the entire thing. But Daniel Bryan's taking a few more, like, as the veteran of the two of them, is doing a few more shortcuts, a bit more, taking more of the heel role in this match. And then I would have Gargano win, become the new United States champion, and I wouldn't have Daniel Bryan snap and turn heel here, but it would set in motion a course where Daniel Bryan and Johnny Gargano team up together for a little while. Like, they try and show mutual respect at the end, with Daniel Bryan shaking his hand but looking visibly disappointed and frustrated. They start a tag team for a little while, and maybe they go after the tag titles for a bit, but Daniel Bryan eventually does snap, beat the shit out of him, and that sets you on course for a rematch at WrestleMania in a more vicious stipulation. So that's the plan for the United States title. Intercontinental title is a bit more straightforward. It's Chris Jericho defending against Roddy Piper.
Yep.
Again, it's almost like they're both quote unquote heels, but Piper is the lovable heel, and Jericho is the asshole heel that everyone hates, and Piper's just playing into those insecurities. They both had segments leading up to this where Jericho has Piper on the highlight reel, and Piper has Jericho on Piper's pit. They just play into that for a little while, so they don't really touch physically that much. But in the match, it's about, who's taking the most shortcuts. I might even make this a submission match just because they have signature submission moves, so it would make sense to do that as well. But realistically, you probably shouldn't, because I'd probably just have Jericho get foot on the ropes and pin Piper with a roll up to secure the championship, retain it, and then move forward to WrestleMania. I don't see this progressing beyond the Rumble. It would kind of just be a one and done feud. But yeah, just wanted to put those two together because I think they really work well. And then my WWE Championship match, I only have one world champion. Brock Lesnar champion. Because why not? You got Brock, you're going to use him. And because the Royal Rumble is an opportunity to do something with some people that are less likely to get title matches throughout the course of the year, I thought, why not do it against that big motherfucker that he confronted in the Rumble at one point, Keith Lee.
I thought you were going to go Cesaro. I was hovering over it.
No. I wanted to do Keith Lee because their one confrontation was in that Royal Rumble in 2020. And the idea that it seemed like Brock was quite interested in taking on this guy.
Yeah.
So literally just a big guy match. I know Brock typically works best against smaller guys that he can throw around, but he can throw around Keith Lee, and Keith Lee is agile enough that he can do some of the stuff that some of the smaller guys can do, but also have enough of a power and size comparison to Lesnar that you can see him as a legitimate threat. And you have him do all these big stuff. You have Lesnar kick out the Spirit Bomb and a pounce and that stuff, but Keith Lee just can't hit the Big Bang catastrophe. Instead, Lesnar's able to get him up for the F5, drop him, get the pin. And yeah, that's just Keith Lee. That's Keith Lee's one opportunity at the world title for the year, but he might be back for another championship opportunity later down the road. But yeah, that was just I thought it'd be quite an interesting dynamic to see those two against each other. It's one that I wanted WWE to go with, and they shit the bed, as they are prone to do.
So I wanted to do this ahead of time, and I forgot about it. So we're going to do it for yours. Sucks that we didn't do it for the other two, but sorry, completely forgot. Rob, both you and I are going to try to predict who's winning Callum's Royal Rumble based off of that idea.
Okay, so,
I'm assuming the Royal Rumble's the next match you're going to talk about, right?
Yes, that's the
okay.
Event.
That's why I wanted to cut you off before you started to say number one and all.
That's cool.
All right, so given the fact that I know who he hasn't mentioned, and given the fact that I know what Callum's favorite mania is he doesn't like to do too many repeats. I'm going to say Steve Austin wins best Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania.
I'm gonna say the same. Some standout people, some Goldberg, McIntyre, Cesaro, Eddie Guerrero, a lot of types I could see. But we've seen Brock against Joe, we've seen Brock against Angle, Brock against Rock. I'm gonna go Steve Austin as well. So let's see if we end up being right about that.
Okay,
that is with the Royal Rumble.
All right, so. You two have both started with Rumbles where it's like two people that could go a long time and have a lot of and basically pretty much have a great match on their own beyond the Rumble itself. So my number one is Val Venus. Because he comes out with the "Hello Ladies" thing. You can get the crowd excited and cut a little promo at the start of it before he gets into things. So that's mainly the reason I had somebody that has a gimmick that is associated with his entrance, and he can talk about like throwing 29 guys over the top rope, and it's just like it's not the first time I've been involved in a situation with 29 guys. And this time, just like in my movies, I'm gonna end up on top.
I'm gonna be the one who finishes last.
Yeah, one who finishes last. So he goes out, and then he's followed by Wildman Mark Marrow. And you could have Sable with him. Again, Sable's not part of the draft or whatever, but if you wanted to go with that route, then it's like, well, Val Venus can get slightly distracted by Sable at the start of it as well. And so that gives Marrow a chance to just get a cheap shot in, and they just start brawling for a while. So you have two essentially perennial mid-carders starting off the Rumble, but Royal Rumbles to have had that before. You don't always have to start with someone who's going to go the distance. Number 3 is Pierrot, or however you pronounce his name.
Pierrot.
I didn't look it up. Pierrot, whatever. But it's just Lucha Guy comes in, does a few Lucha spots with the other two. Then he's followed quickly by Golga, slightly bigger guy, dances to the ring. Like you got that that's Oddities music playing in the background, people just waving their arms as it goes on. And then he just comes in, starts beating them up some more, so you have the ring filling up a bit. Luke Gallows, number 5, slightly bigger guy, just is able to impose himself a little bit more physically. He's mainly focusing on Golga, while the other guys just other guys just beat each other up in the corner, just trying to get some eliminations going, but nothing gets done. And now I'm sick of this shit. Goldberg comes in. And Goldberg just tosses everyone. He just eliminates Golga quickly, clotheslines him over, Gallows spear thrown over the top rope, Mark Mero caught in a choke, thrown over the top. Val Venus hit with the jackhammer, thrown out. Pierrot gets speared in half, lifted up, tossed into everyone else. Because I like Royal Rumbles where there's one guy in the ring and he takes on all comers one at a time. Because I don't know if it's my favorite, but definitely one of my favorite Rumbles is 2020 with Lesnar doing this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to follow that suit, but I'm going to do it with Goldberg instead.
You're doing the what is this, number 7 or so?
He was number 6.
Number 6. There's that number 6, number 7 kind of range of like Diesel clearing house and then beating everybody and all.
Austin was also number 5.
Yep.
In '97 when he just tosses everyone. It's so good.
Punk did that. And the one that he was
also
like
very early. Was he like 6?
Something along those lines. Yeah.
No, Punk was 3.
Yeah, because Hunter's like 8. And Hunter tosses him.
Yeah, because he starts with because that Rumble starts with basically a similar one to my one. It starts with Evan Bourne and Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And they literally just do all their moves. They literally do all their finishers in close proximity to each other, and then Punk just throws them both out.
So Goldberg's reset the field.
Yeah, Goldberg's reset the field. He's on his own. He's just waiting for the first victim. And his first victim of this next stage is Curtis Axel. Stands up. He's got that kind of Axelmania blood flowing through him, and he looks nervous about coming in, but he slaps himself in the face. He just gets himself super pumped up, runs to the ring, head down, runs straight into a spear, gets thrown out the ring.
Yeah.
And then Goldberg has a few more seconds, just sit there, wait for his next victim. Needs someone a little bit bigger, someone that could be a real imposing threat to Goldberg. So you bring out the Great Khali at number 8. Great Khali saunters his way down to the ring. He's not exactly jogging. You might need one of those little scooter things to get him down the ramp if they still have those. They did for like Mark Henry and stuff. So he gets there, poses a bit more of a threat to Goldberg, is able to outmuscle him a little bit, like hits him with a chop, tries to go for the double choke slam. Goldberg breaks out of that, kicks him in the face, spears him, and then is able to lift him back up, or Khali gets back up to the ropes, clothesline over the top. Goldberg eliminates Great Khali on his own, and then he waits for someone else. Then we have IRS. So earlier in the night, IRS was originally supposed to have a higher number, but he got it stolen by Eddie Guerrero in the backstage segment. So he's a bit pissed that he's coming out at number 9, and then he's doubly pissed because he knows he's got Goldberg in there. So he's come out with a big briefcase of money, and he's literally going to say to Goldberg, "I'll give you this amount of money if you throw yourself out, or you just let me be in and we wait for the next person to come in." Goldberg looks slightly enticed by the money. Seems like he's accepted it because he takes the briefcase, and IRS is celebrating. Turns around, Goldberg hits him in the back with the briefcase, spears him, jackhammers, throws him out. And then still him. So I think it's about time we have someone that could actually pose somewhat of a threat to Goldberg. So who better than Diamond Dallas Page? Obviously, they have that history from WCW, guy that really took Goldberg to his limits, probably gave Goldberg his best singles match that he ever had. And so they're able to square up a little bit more. The crowd's secret behind DDP. I mean, they're behind Goldberg as well, but they like DDP a lot. So they're able to square up a little bit more. Goldberg isn't able to deal with him as quickly. He's able to get away from spears and put up more of a fist fight with him. Out comes number 11, Mike Kanellis. Again, he just gets involved in the melee a little bit more. He's trying to fight DDP. He's not really trying to do too much to Goldberg. He's almost trying to team up with Goldberg, but Goldberg's having none of it and just beating him up as well. Number 12, Mason Ryan, a bit more again of a physical specimen. He can come in, he can deal with Goldberg for a little while, and because there are more people in the ring, it's less easy for Goldberg to just pick them off one at a time. So you have Mason Ryan dealing with Goldberg, and in the meantime, DDP eliminates Mike Kanellis, just hoists him over the top rope. We could have him charging and do the back body drop over the top. And then number 13 is Ryback. We have Ryback come in at the same time that you've got Goldberg.
Mm-hmm.
So he comes in, he starts beating up DDP, and he beats up Mason Ryan, and then you have to stare down with Goldberg. It's like looking in a mirror. You can do the whole mirror thing as well, of one of them lifts a hand up, the other one lifts his hand up.
Like the Marx Brothers.
Yeah. And then they start brawling for a little bit. Mason Ryan and DDP get involved. They start attacking the other guy. Ryback hoists Mason Ryan out of the ring, and then he starts DDP goes for hits the diamond cutter on Goldberg in the meantime, and then he starts attacking Ryback. They start brawling for a little bit more. They get really close to the ropes, and they're just hanging over there. Goldberg gets right underneath both of them, hoists them both out at the same time. So even though he's staggering from the diamond cutter, he's able to get out quickly enough to throw them both out, and it's back to reset with Goldberg in the ring on his own. Number 14, glass shatters. Steve Austin comes down. So got Goldberg now, a little bit tired. Those two are just staring at each other. You have that, not history, but that comparison that these two were the hottest guys in their same period of WWE, and WCW respectively. So they start brawling. They just start beating the shit out of each other in the ring, and then they start brawling to the floor. So they both fall out of the ring, obviously not eliminated, but they're brawling on the outside, brawling at ringside. Going to the crowd for a little while, just fighting all around the place, just out of a little bit of a sideshow. In the meantime, Shelton Benjamin's coming to the ring, and he is a member of the Hurt Nation. And he just gets in the ring, and he just starts doing jumping jacks, just starts preening to the crowd. Maybe you do a Hurt Nation signature pose and stuff like that. Maybe you cut a promo to the crowd in the meantime, just to make sure that even though people are still looking at whatever Goldberg and Steve Austin is doing, that he's not completely just lost in the shuffle. And then a couple of seconds later, Heath Slater comes in. Heath Slater and Shelton Benjamin start going at it. Again, Benjamin's clearly the superior athlete out of the two of them, so he gets the advantage, but no eliminations at this point, while Austin and Ryback, fucking hell, Goldberg. so it's so easy to confuse the two of them.
Ryberg.
Ryberg. They're just brawling. They're getting closer and closer back to the ring, but they're still in the crowd. They're still close to the barricades at this point. Then Samoa Joe comes out, number 17. Again, it's now just like starting to fill up a little bit more. This is now the point where the Rumble will start to fill up with people. And Joe comes in, just starts, again, beating people up, throwing people around. Just pretty straightforward. There's only these 3 guys in the ring while the other 2 are outside doing whatever they're doing. 18, Jinder Mahal comes out. And again, just adding more bodies into it for the time being. Just doing whatever Jinder Mahal does, which I assume is a load of punching kicks and boring holds. 19 is Mabel. Again, get a big guy into there, and doesn't have any eliminations, but he just starts, beating people up quite easily, like splashing people in the corner, taking people's clotheslines, and just like not selling for them, just doing it all pretty much on his own. 20 is Drew McIntyre.
So wait, you're going Mabel, not Viscera, right?
Yeah, I'll go Mabel because we're the Mabel collection here.
Yeah,
not
okay. Just wanted to be sure.
Yeah, and then McIntyre comes out. McIntyre is again much more of a physical presence, tall, big guy. He's able to take down Mabel a little bit more, but he can't eliminate him on his own. So Mabel's able to push him off. But then who's there alongside Drew McIntyre to help get Mabel out of the ring? Heath Slater and Jinder Mahal. And they all just combine their efforts together and they throw Mabel out of the ring all together, and they do a little 3MB pose, and they get the guitars out and they start playing it, the air guitars, they're playing around, and then they think, oh, okay, we've got to unite together and be a force, and then McIntyre hits them both with a double claymore and throws them back out the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. The whole
that does Rikishi, the shrug,
Yeah. Yes, they're Rikishi, Sky Too High.
Yep.
Sky Too High in Grandmaster Sexay spot, so I like that spot, so I wanted it.
That's a really good spot, yeah.
So right now in the ring, Steve Austin and Goldberg by this point have made their way back into the ring, and they're still focused mainly on each other, but now they're getting a bit more involved in brawls with McIntyre and Samoa Joe and Shelton Benjamin. And then here comes the final member of the Hurt Nation, Ahmed Johnson. So him and Shelton now start teaming up, and they start pairing off on people. They start going after Austin and Goldberg. They're not fully dominating the entire Rumble, and they're not getting anyone out, but they're just exerting a bit more of presence because there's both of them there, and they're going to be united together until the end. 22. Fucking hell. I'm going all over the place. 22 is Kurt Angle. And yeah, just comes in, suplexing everyone, just throwing people around. This is basically what Angle did in the 2005 Rumble, except he doesn't get eliminated just by a flash kick by Shawn Michaels, but he's just literally suplex, maybe an angle slam in there as well, but he's just throwing people around. 23, AJ Styles. Okay, now you're getting your heavy hitters coming into this. So Styles is in, does a load of his signature offense as well, like a phenomenal forearm in there, hits Angle with Styles clash. Just adding more bodies into there. Still no eliminations, but you're getting some really top name people. Speaking of which, 24 is Eddie Guerrero. He comes in, again, starts adding to the melee. He does like some Three Amigos, but you do the ones where it's like he hits 2 of the Three Amigos, then someone interrupts, so he starts doing the Three Amigos on that one. So if someone else interrupts, he's doing Three Amigos on that one until he finally manages to hit all of them on Shelton Benjamin, say. And like the crowd gets super interested in that. Then you have Cesaro come out. Cesaro, big dude, just starts throwing uppercuts all over the place to anyone who's moving, just like powering people up, and yeah, just adding another name that you could maybe potentially envision winning this as well. And then you throw in 26, The Rock. The Rock comes in, House of Fire, and he's had some problems in the past with the Hurt Nation because he didn't want to join them again, or didn't want to reform that thing, even though they felt that it was in his heritage or in his blood to be part of that group. But no, The Rock's doing it his own way, and then in the course of him arriving and just coming over House of Fire and just punching everyone that moves, he eliminates both Shelton Benjamin and Ahmed Johnson. So both members of the Hurt Nation are thrown out before the end of the Rumble. Then you have 27, Karma. You have the big woman come down to just be a bit of a moment where everyone just kind of stops and stares, like thinking, oh, okay, what's happening here? And Karma comes in, she just starts like attacking people. She's big enough that she can just throw guys like AJ Styles and Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle around if she wants to. But she eventually gets like choked from behind and thrown out by Samoa Joe. Because Samoa Joe doesn't care. He's not going to take it easy just because you're a woman. 28, Yokozuna comes down. Again, doesn't exactly make a fast start getting into the ring. And in the meantime, you've had Drew McIntyre and a couple of the other big guys start just beating up and asserting themselves in the middle ring while everyone else is kind of like choking each other out or being beaten up in the corner. Yokozuna comes in, he starts taking people down with clotheslines and splashes, and then Drew McIntyre starts to wail on him a bit. He starts punching and he goes for like a running claymore out of the ring, but Yokozuna is able to avoid it or block it. And then he again, reverse it, throws McIntyre out himself. So that could be somewhere direction you could go in as well, like these two big behemoths against each other, maybe down the road for WrestleMania, but just have the idea of Yokozuna throwing McIntyre out. Then 29 comes out, Timothy Well. So he's out there. It's just a bit of comic relief. He starts sprinting towards the ring, but then he realizes who's in it, and so he kind of creeps around on the outside, and he's just waiting for his opportunity to strike. In the meantime, Kurt Angle will eliminate Samoa Joe because those two have been having a rivalry leading up to this, like a professional, like in-ring rivalry before this, similar to their TNA days. And Kurt Angle's able to get the better of Samoa Joe, maybe do like an angle slam over the top rope, and Joe's thrown out. In the meantime, then everyone just starts hitting like finishing moves. You have like a stunner, you have a spear, you have a rock bottom, to the point where like pretty much everybody's laid out, and Timothy Well sees his opportunity, gets in the middle of the ring, and he just starts celebrating and just like getting super excited because he's the only one standing in the Royal Rumble. And well, it's the Big Show at number 30. Big Show just comes down, Timothy Well craps his pants, and just like he doesn't know what to do, and he just like goes for some sort of clothesline or attack of the Big Show early. Big Show just catches him in his grasp, hits a choke slam, throws him out of the ring, and then loads of people start going after the Big Show immediately. Like Angle gets thrown down, Austin gets thrown down, The Rock gets thrown down. AJ Styles and Eddie Guerrero both go after him, and they seem like they've gotten some kind of shots in, but Big Show is able to reverse it, throws Styles out of the ring, throws Eddie Guerrero out of the ring. They're both eliminated. And then you get Goldberg tries to get into him, and he spears him, tries to hit the jackhammer, but he can't get him up. And in the meantime, he's then squashed in between both Yokozuna and the Big Show. They do like a rock and a hard place type spot. But then you have Big Show squaring up to Yokozuna, and they start wailing on each other. Big Show gets him in a chokehold. Yokozuna tries to block him with his own chokehold, and they end up leaning against the ropes. And in that time, Cesaro is able to get up underneath both of them, throw them both out at the same time. So you have Cesaro getting the big elimination over these two giants and just continuing his reputation as a force to be reckoned with in battle royals. So you're down to 5 now. You're down to Kurt Angle, Cesaro, The Rock, Goldberg, and Steve Austin. Cesaro is soon thrown out. Like he does all like loads of signature spots, like runs wild for a bit, but eventually gets caught by Angle into a belly-to-belly suplex over the top rope. Down to a final 4, you have the 4 corners thing: Angle, Goldberg, Rock, and Austin. It's pretty stellar final 4. And you make this one last a little bit. You have them all fighting around for about 2 or 3 minutes. Like they're just struggling to get them over. They're hitting their signature moves. Eventually, The Rock is able to eliminate Goldberg when he tries to go for the jackhammer on Austin. It's like you have him like close to the ropes going for the jackhammer. Rock is able to just like clothesline him out in the process. Goldberg gets pissed. He gets a steel chair on the outside, crawls back into the ring, hits The Rock in the back. That allows Kurt Angle to eliminate The Rock, and it also sets in motion plans for a Rock versus Goldberg match at WrestleMania. And then you're down to the final 2, Austin and Angle. They go after each other for a while. I kind of see this playing out similarly to what the 2002 Royal Rumble played out, where Angle thinks that he's eliminated Austin, and he like celebrates, gets his hands down, starts like dancing around in the ring, starts wildly celebrating as Angle does. Steve Austin gets back in, clotheslines Angle, stuns him, throws him over the top rope. Angle's crying on the outside, and Austin is your winner. Will be facing Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. Because you was right. It was going to be Austin because most of the top guys in this match, Lesnar has had matches with, and Austin is the one anomaly.
Even though there's nothing that ever says that we can't book rematch things, we always tend to go for like doing something a little bit different.
Yeah, if you have the opportunity to build towards a and Austin les the match at any point, then you should really take that opportunity. And it's a different universe. You don't really have to say that Austin is like the 3-time winner of the Rumble. In this universe, this could be the first time he wins the Rumble.
Yeah, and without a broken neck and, different things.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. Still couldn't resist the, leading into Big Show thing. Yeah. I think all of us would have done that.
You said it, and I thought, this is fun. Because otherwise, Timothy Well would just have ended up in the Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley team.
Right.
But yeah, I thought that would be a little fun way to end it. Like you sometimes have at the 29 spot, just that guy.
It's a dip down, so you can go back up again.
Yeah, exactly. Like the one that I remember most fondly is when it was the Miz, when the Miz was the reality show guy still. And he comes in at number 29, I think, in the 2007 Royal Rumble.
Yeah, because Taker's 30. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like he's there, and I think he just gets in the ring, and then he's immediately eliminated by the Great Khali. So. But yeah, that is the approach for that one. And then also just for the Well line, because you could have on commentary just say, like, well, here's the Big Show. And yeah, so I wanted to stack it towards the end because I like the Rumble idea of like one guy standing in the ring for a while and just taking on all comers for a bit before it then starts piling up towards the end. I pretty much took the same sort of formula for the 2020 Rumble because I just thought it was really well booked, that Rumble, and just taking my own approach to it in certain aspects.
Yeah, I mean, they've had all these different Royal Rumbles in the past. You can merge concepts. So you didn't do the full start off at number 1, go to number 16, but you took inspiration for it and kind of bounced around between that and like the way that like some of the other people have done the run through and eliminate a lot of people types.
I almost started with the idea of like almost trying to make it deliberately make the start of the Rumble disappointing with the people in, just so when Goldberg's in, it's like, okay, now we're starting the Rumble. That kind of, it's like, okay, we've had these people in, and it's like, okay, none of these people are going to win, so let's just have the guy come in and clear house and all of them. So you almost like get a bigger sense of, okay, this guy's going to be a force to be reckoned with in this Rumble, and he survives right until near the end. It's like that's kind of like Goldberg is in the Kane role for this.
So I didn't calculate. Yeah, I see that you have most eliminations 10 Goldberg, Iron Man Goldberg, shortest time Curtis Axel.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't bother to figure that out ahead of time, but I think I've got Kane has the most eliminations or Andre. I think my Iron Man, of course, is Bret Hart, and then my shortest time. I don't know if it would be Maven or Santino. Probably Santino. Because Repo Man probably would take a couple seconds to just be like, nee, and then, whatever. And same thing with Ric Flair starting around.
Yeah. I would say that if you'd done the prediction thing beforehand of like predicting who would be the winner of the, I definitely wouldn't have picked Edge out of your one.
Yeah,
I would immediately gone for either Michaels or Hart.
Yeah. What about you, Rob?
For your one?
Yeah, well, who would you?
I might have said Roman.
I think going with Rob's.
I would have gone Cena probably still.
I probably still would have gone Cena, but I think I would have been tempted to say Cena's the runner-up and Orton wins.
I think once I know that like Triple H and Batista are your champions and you're booking them both as heels, then Cena was the obvious choice.
I'm calculating right now. I think John Cena might have the most eliminations.
At a quick glance, it looks like it's either Orton or Cena.
Yeah,
he has one more than Randy Orton does.
There
you can argue that Orton was the record figure.
Yeah, I don't have people getting a lot of eliminations in my one. So like Goldberg gets my most eliminations with 10. I think the person who then gets the next most eliminations are both Big Show and Kurt Angle with 3 each.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, The Rock gets 3 as well. So Rock gets 3, Kurt Angle gets 3, Big Show gets 3.
That's pretty standard though. There's usually one person who gets way more than others.
Yeah, so and Austin, the guy who ends up winning it, only gets the 1 elimination. So
and that happens on a regular basis too.
Yeah. And I would say just at a glance, obviously my Iron Man is Randy, and my shortest time is probably Paul Roman. No, it's Adam Cole because he hits the ring and Pete Dunne rushes him immediately. he's out.
Yeah, 3 different
really
types.
Good you know what? I think I enjoyed this one the most, just because a lot of work went into it, a lot of different ideas. Really fun.
And that's just one of those things that, we like playing around with these things a little bit more because we've done a bunch of these mock drafts and fantasy bookings. So we're always looking for different, like, kind of, tweaks and twists and everything that we can do. Callum brought up a good point that we're going to do going forward. After we had done this randomized spin the wheel type deal, he brought up the idea of us doing like a respin where we don't know the specifics about like how many, like maybe like one chance every 10 people. Maybe it depends on if we're not doing like the biggest group of people to pick from, maybe you only get one period or something. Like, we'll hammer that out and kind of do things based off of whatever the thing is.
I kind of like the idea of like you have a set number of potential respins, and then you essentially then have to plan out, okay, like I've got this guy who I don't really like, but do I risk respinning getting someone even worse? And then also the fact that further down the line, if I get someone who is even worse, I might not be able to, I might have already used all my spins by that point.
Yeah, you could potentially use, like, if you've got 5 respins, do you want to use all 5 for the same person? Just no, respin, and then shit, now I'm stuck with this person? Or, yeah, so that's going to be a thing going forward with whatever randomized thing that we do with that. We don't really have a game plan in mind of what the next mock draft and fantasy booking will be, but we could do something based off of Elimination Chamber. We could do something just completely out of the blue. Like, we've got plenty of different ideas of different people from different time frames, or at some point probably around the time that we get to Evolution, we're going to do like an all women's one. And I mean, I like when we get like a theme going and we kind of have something to go with other than just like, hey, manually pick people that you like. And I like the randomized thing too, because that's a fun little element to it too. But by all means, let us know which cards you like the best, which matches you think are the most interesting, who out of the 3 of us kind of won whenever if you had to pick one of these to watch, and which one you think overall you'd end up giving the most amount of stars to, or you'd walk away happier if you were sitting there in the arena and not being disappointed like me at WrestleMania 29 or something. Then drop those thoughts in the comments below. If you're listening elsewhere and not on the YouTube side of things, then send us a tweet or post something on like the Mega Maniacs, or there's lots of different ways that you can express yourselves. And of course, make sure that you go ahead and click on all the good stuff: the subscribe button, the join button, the thanks button, the like button. Go to Redbubble and TeePublic and check out what these guys have going on with what they're doing. If you start clicking around all over the place, you should be clicking on anthonymango.com and checking out my stuff on Fanboys Anonymous, which I'm working on lots of different projects now. At some point pretty soon, I'll be posting my full tier list of every Pokemon ever on there. And I am still working on my top 10 movies of every single year from like the 80s up. It's actually harder than I thought it was going to be, but that'll come out at some point, and plenty of other things too. We got a whole list of things, but these guys are working on other things too. So go ahead and check them out.
Yep, you can follow me everywhere at Dude Police. You can check out my work on Fightful and WrestleZone. Check out me on Fanboys too. I'm all over the watch-alongs, and we got some stuff cooking for this coming year, specifically on the animated series kind of things. So I'm very excited about that. And as always, I appreciate all the support. But for now, here's Cal Megan.
You can find me on Twitter at Wigmeister14, over on smark@moment.com. Be sure to make a beeline for the power rankings, my weekly contribution, where I rank the WWE superstars from 1 to 10 or 10 to 1, however you look at it. And then there is also the Fantasy League, which you'll also find at smark@moment.com, or going to wwefantasyleague.com. And there you'll see what points we've been picking up over the course of, it's probably about 35, 36 weeks at this point. And we're on the home stretch now towards the Royal Rumble and then to WrestleMania, where we'll find out who has won the Fantasy League for 2022 to 2023. And yeah, that's all from me.
All right, everyone. That's going to do us in for this episode of the mock draft and fantasy booking. Coming up next on our main event schedule is the 1993 Royal Rumble Watch Along for another Fan Ounce Table edition. Then we got another episode of the Hot Tags. And then next week, we're already on the Go Home show. Royal Rumble predictions coming up. Isn't that crazy that that's already going to pop up?
Yeah, and you know what? They got a hell of a Go Home. That Raw 30, probably going to be the best Raw of the year.
So we're going to have some predictions for the Raw 30th anniversary on those hot tags. And if you want to revisit the 30th anniversary of Monday Night Raw, go back and check out the first episode of Raw with our Fan Ounce table that we did for a Darkcast. So, of course, you can't access that unless you are on the Darkcast tier on the members only club side of things, or you are on the Patreon. And, shout out to those on those fronts. We might be doing something like that pretty soon with one of Magpie's requests, so stay tuned for all that. And we will see you when we see you. Adios for now, everybody. This has been another Smark Out moment, and we are being counted out.